Everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am the Code Cartel, and today we are diving into one of the most powerful tools every programmer should know: regular expressions, or as we can call them, regex. If you have ever needed to find specific patterns in text, validate email, addresses, or clean up messy data, or create a password validator as you're seeing on the screen, regex is your best friend. By the end of this tutorial, you have something similar to this. You create such an input, such validation, and you'll understand how to read, write, and most importantly, use regex patterns like a pro. Now, remember, it takes time, it takes some practice. But with the basics, you'll be able to form a foundation which is important for every developer. Without further ado, let's get started. You might be asking yourself, what is regex? And the abbreviation for regex is regular expressions. Regular expressions are essentially search patterns. Think of them as a superpowered find and replace function. Instead of searching for exact text, you can search for patterns. For example, instead of searching for john@gmail.com, you can create a pattern that finds any email address. Username at something.something. regex is supported in almost every programming language you know of. This includes Python, JavaScript, Java, C#, PHP, you name it. It's also built in our text editors like VS Code and our command line tools. I will be using regex101.com throughout this tutorial. It's free and shows you exactly what your patterns match in real time. Go ahead and start with the simplest regex. And the simplest past pattern you can have is just regular text. For example, I have the word dog, and I'm going to write, I love my dog. And you can see dog is highlighted. This is so basic, right? No overthinking, nothing too complicated. It's just the regular text and it's matching the exact word, the exact text that I'm looking for. That's very simple. No much explanation needed here. This is simple and direct. We talk about meta characters, and meta characters make regex to be just more powerful. And I'm going to use my previous statement. I love my dog. I want you to note that regex also notices your white spaces. That's why they're dots. And I want to show you what meta characters actually mean. So you see this letter, this word dog right here. I can still search for this word dog and I can have a dot here. So our first meta character is simply a dot. A dot in regex has a more meaning than just a dot. It has a bigger meaning than just a dot. It means that we can match any character, meaning that I can have this word altered like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, and it's still being highlighted because a dot meta character means we can match any character. That's for the dot. Go ahead to talk about the asterisk. The asterisk matches 0 or more of the preceding character. It matches 0 or more of the preceding character. The explanation itself is so easy and so simple to understand, meaning that I'm going to have this word as it was a dog is being highlighted. I can still have more O's, letter O, and the word is still being highlighted because this is 0 or more of the preceding character. The preceding character in our case right here is letter O. And I can also delete the letter O and still my word will be highlighted because it matches for 0, matches the previous token between 0 and unlimited times. Looking at the tooltip being given by regex101.com, we can see the explanation matches the previous token between 0 and unlimited times, meaning 0 and more, as many times as possible, giving back as needed. So that's for the asterisk meta character. We go ahead to proceed to our next meta character. And it is the plus sign. The plus sign is our next meta character. And look at this, our word is not being highlighted as it was when we had the asterisk right here. Now, the asterisk and the plus sign have a common functionality, but the only difference is that this one matches for one or more of the preceding pattern or the preceding character. So I cannot have this highlighted if this is a plus sign. I cannot have this word highlighted. I need to have at least one of the preceding character or pattern. So this is going to be highlighted. When I add another letter O, it's still going to be highlighted. When I add another letter O, it's going to be highlighted. But I cannot have this highlighted because it only checks for one or more of the preceding character. And the preceding character, as I said in our case, is letter O. So I need to have one or more of this letter O for it to be highlighted or for it to be matched. So for it to be highlighted, I need to write letter O. Or I can have as many characters similar to the preceding one because it's unlimited. As you can see, the tooltip tells us matches the previous token between 1 and unlimited times. That's for the plus sign. The only difference with the asterisk sign, remember, is this one checks for 1 or more and the asterisk checks for 0 or more. We go ahead to have our question mark, which is our next meta character. And with the question mark, what it actually means is it makes the preceding character to be optional. So for this, I'm going to use a different example. I'm going to have color, and have my meta character right here. And I'm going to show you, and color. So you can see both of these words are highlighted. These are two different words. We have the color, this is the correct spelling, this is another spelling of color, and still both of them are being highlighted because it makes the preceding character to be optional. Think of this is a special hack for me. I look at the question mark, and every time I see the question mark in a regex expression, I think of optional. Yeah, so you can think that way too. This question mark mainly represent the keyword optional. And for this, it means that the preceding character, which is in our case, letter U, which comes before the meta character, is optional, meaning that it's going to highlight any word that lacks this letter U and is going to still highlight any words that has this letter U. we have square brackets in regex, and they make regex to be more powerful in that they help in specifying a set of characters that need to be matched. For example, if I want to match the characters A and H, I would have this, and you see the special characters that I want, or the characters that I want to match, are highlighted here. And this is a functionality offered by the square brackets and is very useful. Now, if I want to match all of the lowercase characters, I would have my square brackets having this content, and with this I am matching all of my lowercase letters. All of my lowercase letters. As we all know, the alphabet runs from A to Z unless that changes. So if I want to match any lowercase letter, I'm going to use this to help me do that. Also, if I want to now go ahead and match my uppercase letters, I'm going to do this. And I only have one uppercase letter at the moment, but I can go ahead and try to make this to be uppercase, and it's still going to be matched. So these for uppercase letters, these for lowercase letters. In your square brackets A to Z, I have my lowercase letters highlighted, and I can make this to be uppercase and it will not be highlighted. That's how you highlight all your uppercase and all your lowercase letters. Now, when creating a password validator, you might want to use this, where you might want to have the password to have at least an uppercase letter and a lowercase letter. So this is super important to note. If I want to match any digit, I'm going to have my square brackets have this content inside, meaning that I am matching any digit 0 from the number 0 to 9. That means I'm matching any number or any digit. I can have this simple example, and you can see I've highlighted my digits. These are the digits 1 and 2. So that's how you go about this. We also have shortcuts. You can use the shortcut to save on this. You can use the shortcuts, and I would say shortcut is because they are the shorter version of using these square brackets, looking for all the uppercase, lowercase letters, looking for all the digits. We have this, which means it's used to highlight any digit. Again, this is the same as having a square bracket and having 0 to 9, but you can use this short form and you can highlight or match any digit using backslash and small letter d, or d to its lowercase. We also can go ahead to match any word character, and I'm going to use W. And W, what it does, it matches all the letters, it matches all the digits and the underscore. So if I want to match any word character, I can use this short form, which is the backslash and letter W. I can also match all the white spaces using letter S to its lowercase. So with this, you can match all the white spaces. You can also go ahead to match all the characters that are not a digit, and I can use the uppercase of letter D, and I'm going to match all the characters that are not a digit. I can also go ahead to match all the characters that are not a word. This includes the digits and the word spaces, and I'm going to have these highlighted. This matches all the characters that are not a word, that are the opposite of the W, which was in small case, sorry. So remember this W, this small case W, this letters W highlights all the word characters. Those include letter, digits, and underscore. So the opposite of this is that I'm going to highlight all the characters that are not letters, digits, and underscores. So if I have the uppercase of letter W, then I have these white spaces highlighted. I proceed to having the uppercase of letter S, which simply highlights all the characters that are not white spaces. That you have the asterisk sign, the plus sign, and the question mark. But there are more precise ways to specify quantities, the exact number you want, and the quantity you want. These are some of the examples I'm talking about. You can see we can specify the number of times we want to match digits. We can specify the number of characters we want. For example, these could be useful in our password validator because we can say that we want a password that is going to match at least 8 characters, and we can do this with the power of quantifiers. We have what we call grouping in regex, and what grouping does, it's used to put together patterns or group together patterns. For example, I can have this pattern and I can say cat hates dog, and you can see I'm highlighting the cat and the dog. So this matches for either the cat or the dog. We use parentheses to have our patterns in a group. Or also, I can go ahead to have something like this. And you can see if we have this, we're going to highlight this and this because, as I told you, a plus sign is used to match one or more of the preceding pattern or character. That's why both of these words are being highlighted. If I also go ahead to have something like this, it's also going to be highlighted. So we can group our patterns. We can group our characters in parentheses. We use parentheses to create groups in regex. As I said, groups also capture what they match, which is useful for extracting data. For example, look at this pattern right here. This is a pattern for extracting information from an email. So I can have the username on a different group and the domain name and the top domain on a different group. So for example, if I have something like this, you can see right here, I have group 1 and group 2, and I have the username separate from the gmail.com, and I can be able to capture all the usernames excluding the domain of the email. So this is super important when working with groups, is to know that they can also be used to capture information. And you can see in highlighting this using different colors. regex101.com is using different colors to highlight the two different groups. This is how grouping works with regex. So sometimes we need to specify where in the text do we want to match, or in which position do we want to match our pattern. For example, I would want to have the word hello matched at the beginning of a line, and at another time I would want to have the word hello matched at the end of the line. And how do we achieve this? To match a pattern at the beginning of a line, or to match a text at the beginning of a line, we use a caret. And this is what we're going to have, something similar to this, with this special character, a caret. And as you can see from the tooltip in this website, it's telling us assert a position at the start of a line. Now, if I want to match the hello at the end of the line, I'm not going to use a caret, I'm going to use a $sign. I've matched our hello at the end of the line. This is how you match your patterns at the beginning and at the end. At the beginning, we have a caret sign just before the initials of the word that you want to match or the pattern that you want to match. At the end of the line, you have your pattern, and after that, your pattern is preceding, and we have the $sign at the end. This is how you match your words, your patterns at the end, at the start of the line, and at the end of the line. This is my simple password validator that I created, and you saw it at the beginning of the video. And I have the code right here, and I have the validation rules, regex patterns for validation criteria. I have the minimum length. So it's actually in this code that you're applying what we just learned, and you can see right here we have the quantifier to tell us. Remember, when you see this, it means that at least 8 or more, and right here we have a dot. What does a dot represent? We said a dot means any character, so it's actually any character. So we're just looking for the whole password. It has to have at least 8 characters, and we have this in brackets, and we have A to Z, and it's all in lowercase, meaning that our password should contain a lowercase letter. We have the uppercase, which means our password should at least contain an uppercase letter. We have the digit, which means that we should at least have a number in our password. And we have this special set of brackets, special characters in a set of square brackets, meaning that our password might at least have a special character, and they are all listed in here. And also we have this capital S or S to uppercase, which means, remember, that we don't allow a white space. This represents no white space. And so these are the rules that our password needs to have. And also we go ahead to create another simple function that just checks for the validation. It actually checks if each rule is met, and is going to test this against our password. If a rule is met, it returns a boolean of true. We go here to get the password string, and the first thing we do is we go ahead to create a filter. We filter to create an array of the past rules. And what this object.values mean is that it abstracts the values from the keys, meaning that we just mapping over the values. And if we are able to get a return type of true, then we are going to create a new array. And then to validate the string, we are going to check at the past rules and the length. Now all of this code is in my GitHub repository, and I've just given the link down below in the description. You can go ahead and check that. So we have this, if the strength is greater than, we return a different level, and we text is weak and all that. Now we go now to check if the password is valid. We go ahead to also to still extract our values. So what does this mean? This is the key and this is the value. Okay, so you need to have some basics here of basic coding. So this is the key and this is the value. So what this object dot values does, it just checks at the values. You're not looking at the keys, so you are mapping over these values. Okay, and we continue to map over these values, and for every rule which is this value, for every rule which is this value, we are going to call our function here, which takes in rule as an argument. And now the rule is this value, remember the rule is this value, and so we are going to check at this value dot the property which is regex, and you're going to test. This is a function offered out of the box by JavaScript. It tests for the regex to check whether it matches with the password that you have given, and we should get a return of true for every rule. Okay, that's how we're going to know if the password is actually valid. And then we come to the handle submit, which is the function that is called on the click of the button. And if our password is actually valid, if we get a return type of true for every rule, then we are going to say that password is valid. You're going to give this alert. Otherwise, we're going to have this. And for strength info, you're going to get the string password string. You're going to be calling this function right here. So those are just some of the fundamentals. This is a real world application. This actually one of the places you can be using regex in your inputs to validate password, to check for password strength, which is something that is important, and it's used in major websites and applications. Let's now put this to test, and I'm going to create a very weak password, and it has passed only 3 rules because it does not contain a number, it does not contain a special character, and it does not have at least 8 characters. Let me make these to 8 characters, and now I have passed 4 rules, and now I want to add a special character and a number. Let me try and validate this password and see, and I get this alert telling me please fix the password requirements, as we saw in our function that if you try to handle submit, if you try to submit this password and it does not pass the required validations, then we're going to have this alert telling us we need to fix our password requirements. So let me go ahead and make this password to actually pass all the validation rules. Hmm. Now I can go ahead and try and create my account, assuming it was a real application, and I get this return password is valid. That's it guys for the regex and regular expressions tutorial. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you enjoyed this process of learning. I have a short story. I was actually doing a coding interview. I had been able to participate in a coding interview, and it was a junior role. and it was a React coding interview, React coding quiz, not interview, sorry. And um, I did not pass the test very well because 50% of the questions were regex questions. And I realized I knew nothing about regex, so I had to go ahead and refresh myself and learn about regex. As a developer, you might underestimate regex and think that you don't really need to learn it, or it's not really important, or it's a minute thing. But I assure you, it's not minute, as it is used in multiple inputs, not just in JavaScript, not just in HTML, CSS, but also in multiple languages. You have PHP, we have Python, we have C hash. Knowing the basics of regex as a developer is important, and that's why I thought I would make a tutorial to teach you and to go through what I've learned and to remind myself also of the basics. I think you should do the same. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, leave a like, subscribe, and see you in the next one.